Let's get into those offensive storylines, guys. And first and foremost, Jeff Sims. Was that the Jeff Sims we're going to see all season, or can they figure something out, or he figures it out this week?
Well, here's the deal. I think that might be the most critical storyline in this game for Nebraska. In his career now at Georgia Tech and one game at Nebraska, he has 31 touchdown passes and 26 picks. Is that who he is? Is that just who he is? Or can this be like, now help me with this pronunciation, the quarterback at Oregon State, Ungalele.
Yeah.
DJ Ungalele. I'm going to go with that. Now, he in 2021, DJ Ungalele, had nine easy. Here we go. Sean, can you help me?
I don't know the name.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
The Clemson quarterback's
going to leave you out there.
The starter in 2021 threw 9 touchdown passes and 10 picks. He played himself out of the job. Went to Oregon State. He's tearing it up. Now he proved he improved his game. He evolved. Is Sims? I mean, you can't just go off one game, but 2 you might be able to go off of. So let's see what he's got. I mean, if it's still, 2 picks and 1 TD pass, or 2 picks and no TD passes, you start to think, okay, this is just who the guy is, right?
Yeah. And so Colorado obviously won that game because of their ability to create turnovers. The play Travis Hunter made inside the 5-yard line was just an absolute incredible play. So that's what you have to watch out for. You cannot take chances against these guys if you're Jeff Sims.
Or can you?
I don't know, man. Because do you have the receivers that are good enough to win those chances?
Well, I don't know if you can ask a quarterback to never take chances.
You got to play it safe, especially when we're talking about how the key to them winning is ball control.
Oh, it's key. I agree with that.
You better pick your spots, especially after what you just saw with that accuracy.
All I'm getting at, Rob, is there's a fine line. I think you can't just completely remove the aggressiveness from a good quarterback. You got to have a guy that's willing to take some shots. I'll say chances every now and then, but got to be smart about it.
All right. The other thing for me, guys, Billy Kemp. They wanted to go to him 9 different times in that game. I mean, he was the first read on 9 of the 24 pass plays they called in that game. And there were some passes that weren't attempts because they were sacks or runoffs by Sims.
Yeah.
But it didn't go to him once. I think he had a couple targets, no catches. Thomas Fidone.
2 targets.
Thomas Fidone, no targets, no catches. I mean, that stat line, no catches for Fidone, Kemp, if you would have said, I'll bet you $100 that was going to happen, I would have taken the bet.
Targets. Like the no catch thing, I mean.
The combined total.
But that's the thing.
Like those are supposed to be your 2 best receivers, and they weren't in the game plan.
No.
Well, they were.
I mean, Jalen Lloyd had more touches in the game.
Kemp was in the game plan. He was the number 1 option on 9 routes. They weren't in the
stat page.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. The stat. I mean, Jalen Lloyd was in the stat page.
Yeah, no doubt. And let's look when they talk about forcing the issue. You can make the case that Sims forced that ball to Sims when Sims forced that ball to Kemp, and it was an overthrow and it was an interception. And then, Fidone being a non-factor, especially with their red zone struggles, where you're going to Nate Borkacher more than you are Thomas Fidone.
Right.
Is that intentional, or is that Fidone not being able to get open, or is that Sims not finding him when he is on the field?
Well, he got bumped in the end zone. Like Matt Rule made that comment that they wanted to go to him in the end zone.
The Fidone got bumped,
and it was supposed to be him, and he got hands on him or roughed up a little bit, so he didn't get open.
So that's another element to this Sims discussion about, it is a lot on him, and some of the decisions he made with the football were really bad. But at the same time, look at what he's throwing to right now. I mean, he just lost Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. That was his number 1 target. 5 targets in that game. And so, now who is he going to go to? You're going to have
Marcus Washington.
Bullet play more. Yeah, Washington being available for the full game. Obviously, he was out first half with the suspension. He made it an immediate difference when he was out there. Caught 3 of his 4 targets in the second half.
I think Sean's right. I think he's your number 1 target.
Jalen Lloyd and Malachi Coleman are fast athletes, but they're kids. How much can you put on those guys?
Well, think about what you're putting them on,
especially in that stage.
And you're putting this on them, Boulder. I mean, this is man's time. I mean, it's not going to be 22,000 fans, half asleep. It's going to be revved up, and it is a heated rivalry. The world's watching this game. And think about by the way, think about what the TV ratings are going to be for this.
Through the roof.
Yeah, crazy. We'll have to do a story on it. That's how big they're going to be. I mean, it'll be one of the. I'm not going to make any predictions, but it'll be a gigantic TV.
Well, just think about Fox. They went all in. Like they took Deion Sanders' first game, big noon kickoff, and they're like, we're going to take the second one too.
They rolled the dice and won.
And they won big.
They won big.
They did.
But it was a Pac-12. Now and the week before was a Big 12. So they took advantage because there weren't just a lot of Pac-12 opportunities like this for them. And I think ABC got Wisconsin at Washington State. That was the other Pac-12 pick. So they had a home run. I mean, there's going to be as many people watching this Nebraska game as we've seen in a while.
It'll be gigantic. Now back to the offense. What do you do with Anthony Grant? Now they're going to lean hard on number 22, Gabe Ervin, for sure. You got to lean harder on him. He only had 7 carries.
They never do.
He had 7 carries. He had 7 carries in that game. Now Nebraska only ran 59 plays,
Right.
So he'll get more carries for sure. I bet he'll be in the 15 range in this game.
Starting on the 1 yard line on the opening possession kind of threw off the whole book.
It did.
Yeah, where they had to go to that QB run game right out of the gate.
It did throw it off. They didn't get going until their 3rd series. They didn't really settle in.
I mean, they basically only got 3/4 of possessions.
Right. So that threw off those sorts of numbers. Now, are you putting Grant in late in this game? I mean, if it's a close game in the 4th quarter, are you just number 23 in the game?
I don't see it.
Really?
He could be your hardest runner, your most violent runner. But again, at this point, in your 2 live football opportunities, the second scrimmage and then the game, he's putting the ball on the ground. And he's putting the ball on the ground in critical times.
Yeah.
And it sounds, as if it was the position coach's call to have
EJ Barthel. Put him in. No, it didn't. Yeah, that's what Rule
said.
just said it.
And so you think about it, he went out of his way to talk about the fumbles in the scrimmage. Then in that situation where things were on the live, he was in there and then fumbles it after Rule had already talked about those fumbles.
Well, talked about it and said you can't play if you fumble the ball like that. We can't have you in the game. Well, there he was.
And he comes right back in.
Yeah, there he was. So your guys are probably it's such a hard discussion because I have a lot of confidence in Grant, but I think you're right. I don't know if you can have him in late.
Mentally, where's he at too?
Yeah.
And at this point, what do you think the balance is with Jeff Sims as a runner? We just talked about all these concerns.
I got an answer for you.
With his passing. We know what he can do running. He's your best runner right now.
Run him. That's what I say. You can't listen. You go 0-2. You got to win 6 of your last 10 to get to a bowl game. Now, this is going to be unpopular, I think. But if I'm just running him. I'm not putting big restrictions.
You're Jamal Lord 0-2.
Kind of. I've talked to coaches about this though since the Minnesota game, and there's smart coaches that say you can't. You just got to run him.
He's 6'4", 225 pounds. He's not some frail little quarterback.
Casey Thompson wasn't built to run like that.
Yeah. Let him roll.
Jeff's built.
I'd let him roll. I would. You need all the weapons
I'm with
you can
you.
muster.